वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगा शिक्षार्थमेक पुरुष पुराणम् श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीरधारी कृपाम्बुदीर्यतमहं प्रपद्ये मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणं वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So thank you everyone for arranging this study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and helping us understand Srimad Bhagavad Gita, helping us benefit from this transcendental knowledge. So we continue our journey, our study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It's a fascinating journey what Arjuna went through, and if we also give a good oral reception to the message of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, it will touch every aspect of our life, and we will be mesmerized or fascinated by this knowledge. Nowhere else actually can be seen, and this love of Krishna for us. So continuing, we continue. So chapter 6, Dhyan Yoga or mind control as well. And we start today from chapter 6, text 26 onwards. Yato yato nishalati manaschanchalamastiram tatastato niyamayetad atmani evam vasam nayet. So I will ask Mariana to read the translation and purport.
From wherever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Purport. The nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady, but a self-realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. One who controls the mind and therefore the senses as well is called Goswami or Swami. And one who is controlled by the mind is called Godasha, or the servant of the senses. A Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness. In transcendental sense happiness, the senses are engaged in the service of Hirshikesha, or the supreme owner of the senses, Krishna. Serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna consciousness. That is the way of bringing the senses under full control. What is more, that is the highest perfection of yoga practice. From wherever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self.
Thank you, Mariana. So, like falling in life, right? Failure or falling in life is not a problem. Like physically speaking, if we fall down, we are walking on a street, say, and we lose our balance and say if we trip and fall down. So falling in life is not a problem. I mean, work is needed is how quickly can we recover from it? How quickly can we come out of it? How quickly can we learn and grow from it and not just get stuck with it? I mean, humans, we have this tendency and we carry this problem, right? That we spread out, this is what overthinking, we just think and think and think on a small subject matter, big subject matter from all different angles. And it doesn't seem to be helping us. It doesn't seem to be growing us. It doesn't seem to be leading us anywhere. But what to do? The mind is so engrossed, the mind is so stuck up, and the mind doesn't know any other engagement, where to put our energy, where to put our heart. So uh, subject matter, and we just go just deep and deep again and again over it. So again, to trip, to fall is not a problem. To commit a mistake, to do something wrong is it's not a problem as such to begin with. Certainly, one shouldn't get into trouble in the first place. But if we have done something wrong, we have done some miscommunication, if we have expressed some anger, thing is how quickly can we recover? How quickly can we come out of it? So we need this ability, this stamina, this understanding, this intelligence to bring our mind back, may bring our mind back from wherever it is wandering, to bring our mind back. And it's a real art. It's a real art. And this is japa. So once we start doing japa, once we start chanting, surely because we are not Vaishnavas, we are not born Vaishnavas. So what do we expect? We expect our mind to be going all over the place and all. But the effort is how quickly can we bring the mind back? We shouldn't go wherever with the mind, wherever the mind wanders. We shouldn't just carry on and go, let the mind go wherever it goes, and we being get dragged by the mind. Like again, I will share this story we discussed yesterday as well. Personally, also I like this, and whatever is all learnings from devotees only, and trying to put it into practice. Without realization, without putting into practice, there's no charm in Krishna consciousness. The real charm, the real philosophy, the real charm in Krishna consciousness will come about once we start practicing it. Hmm. Currently, I'm practicing in a conditioned state, but by devotees' blessings, their encouragement, inspiration, I'm managing myself to still continue practicing Krishna consciousness. And the day I start actually practicing in a pure state, what to say, when I genuinely put the philosophy into practice, wow, wow, what a consciousness it would be then. How pleasing it would be to devotees, acharyas, Vaishnavas, and how much mercy. I mean, mercy of Mahaprabhu came to give his Swabhakti, Nij Bhakti, right? Nothing but pure love of Krishna. So when I will be a day, hopefully, and hopefully soon, when I could practice Krishna consciousness in pure sense, then it should be very pleasing to Mahaprabhu and then could be of real service to Krishna and bring some joy. Although Krishna is not lacking, Krishna is not like as such that missing out. Yes, and he's missing out as well. Krishna has access to everything. He has access to our heart as well, but yet he's missing out on our heart because we are very closed or hard-hearted, or I am very closed or hard-hearted. So coming to this story which I was mentioning, very good learning message out of it. Uh, Perhaps Mariana might have heard this before, don't know. So there were two monks, two brahmacharis, and they had gone to say Portugal or Spain, some town, some village there to do book distribution and Harinam and some other preaching programs. And they were morning time. They were in a small village and they were trying to distribute books and do Harinam, some preaching program there. And they these two brahmacharis are approached by a Mataji, by a lady. And this lady, she is pregnant, quite heavily pregnant. So she is pregnant. And these brahmacharis are approached by this Mataji lady. And this Mataji says that, okay, can you kindly help me cross this bridge? So in the village there is a bridge, and she needs help in crossing the bridge. She wants to go to the other side of the bridge to see her doctor. So she tells that, look, I'm a bit pregnant and I'm a bit like in confidence. I need some help, support. If you could kindly help me cross this bridge. It's not that a long bridge, but you are saintly people. You are here to help and all. This is what kind of you should be doing in a way and all. So help me cross the bridge. Now these two brahmacharis, they were a bit perplexed. Like one was thinking, oh no, we cannot help her cross the bridge. She's a Mataji. How can we kind of deal with. We shouldn't be dealing with Matajis like this and all. And the other brahmachari said, well, let me just do the needful. Let me do the needful for the time being. She's come here for asking us for help, and we should help her. And the other was, no, I shouldn't be dealing with Mataji in this sense. And what if like the other village people gets to know? What if BBC gets to know? What if GBC gets to know? And like this. So actually, but never very soon both of them resolved and agreed. Okay, fine, we'll help her cross the bridge. So they held the hand of the Mataji. They held the hand of the lady and helped her cross the bridge. Say, huh? And then after reaching the other end of the bridge, the Mataji she said thank you, Hare Krishna, whatever, and she went away to see her doctor, to see her GP. And these two brahmacharis, they went their way. Now, after some time had passed, the Mataji went to her GP, and these two brahmacharis also chanting Hare Krishna, they went their way. And some time had passed. Some time had passed, and then one of the brahmacharis says to the other, "Oh, you held the hand of the Mataji. You held the hand of the Mataji, and throughout the bridge for full 15-20 minutes, you held her hand, or you helped her. You took her on your shoulder like this." And so this monk, after some hours, he was telling the other brahmachari, the other monk, "Oh, look, you held her." So the other one replied, "Well, I just held the hand of the Mataji. And for how long? 15 minutes. I just held her hands, okay, to help her cross the bridge. But it seems like you are carrying the Mataji in your heart altogether. You're carrying the Mataji in your mind altogether. Mm. It seems like you are not able to come out of it. It seems like you have gone in a loop. It seems like you have stuck yourself there. It's, people, I mean, we are very vichitra. We are very, what do we say, vichitra? We are very kind of incredible. We are very interesting species. We are very fascinating species. So we like going in repeat mode as well. Repeat mode in loops. So this brahmachari, he was like in repeat mode or in loops. Throughout the day, it was going in his head. Okay, had that. Okay, you held. And then the other said, well, I just held, but for 15 minutes, and it seems like you have carried it in your heart and your mind all together for the a whole day. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is what doing japa as well. I mean, the mind wandering is a normal course. It's a natural course. It's kind of understandable. It's not desired, but it's understandable what to expect in our conditioned state. So that is there. But the strength is, the effort is, how quickly can we bring it back? How quickly can we bring it back again to the holy name? Again in listening and chanting and attentively on the holy name. And when we keep on doing this first day, second day, third day, a day will come very soon where when our mind won't be wandering also so much. Because mind needs food. Mind is like a child, it is looking for a good engagement. And mind is like a child running here and there. It needs some superior guidance. Now, in superior guidance, if it is trained and cultured nicely, mind will follow. But mind is like an adamant child. Child, yes, but an adamant child. This is why the intelligence, although superior than the mind, but because the child is adamant, the intelligence gives up. The intelligence loses its say. So the mind needs culturing, the mind needs guidance. As Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said, that oh, my mind, the mind needs beating with 1,000 times in the morning with a stick and 1,000 times in the evening before going to bed with a shoe. And of course, doesn't mean literally taking a stick and taking a shoe and beating the mind. No, as in the mind needs very much correcting. The mind needs very much anchoring. Those who sail in ship, they just everything is fine, but they constantly need to see, navigate, are we heading in the right direction? Is the set nav in the right direction? Especially nighttime through the compass and all, they set the settings. Okay, this is where our destination, the GPS, this is where we need to go. And it's not like a hard labor they need to do, but still they need to be attentive, because the ship, because of the air movement, the weather, and the water flow current, the ship can deviate. So how to bring it back to track, how to bring it back to track, and keeping in kind of with the lighthouse seeing and the direction. Yes, we are deviated, bring it back, we are deviated, bring it back. So deviating is nothing really to worry about. The work needs doing in how quickly can we recover. And once we learn this art of recovering quickly, we won't be deviating further as well, because we will be gaining strength. We will be gaining very much confidence. With controlled mind, then we can be nicely focused, we can be well concentrated, and we'll get this power of saying no when we want to say no, to whom we want to say no, for the reason we want to say no, and saying yes as well, to whom we want to say yes, for the reason we want to say yes, for the activity, for the purpose we want to say yes. Otherwise, we get carried away. In our life, there's so many things we know that I want to say no to it, but I say yes, and vice versa. But if my mind is controlled and powerful, then I will get that stamina, that clarity, that conviction, that strength. So it is natural for the mind to run, but we need to bring it back, bring it back, bring it back where it belongs to, and engage our mind. And once we engage our mind in Krishna consciousness, then we'll start relishing Krishna consciousness. Then the mind won't be wanting towards the ill effects of Kali Yuga, towards sense gratification, towards, say, meat eating, animal slaughter, very heavy animal slaughter, meat eating, towards gambling, illicit relationships, illicit thoughts, not just on physical platform. uh, I mean, physical platform, see, drinking alcohol and all is not good. It is very sinful, but sinful in the sense that it deviates us from the path of Krishna consciousness. It doesn't help us focus in on Krishna. But then there's another intoxication, which is bhakti utta, so anarth, not aparadh, bhakti utta anarth. We see this in Madhurya Kadambini. So, through the practice of devotional service, one is considered, oh, he's such a good speaker, she's such a good speaker, he's such a good kirtan leader, she's such a good kirtan leader, he's such a good deity worship he does, or he's so good in administration or management, or he's such a pakka brahmacharini. So, people, then there's this tendency, right? Devotees may take pride, subtle sense enjoyment, and associate with it. So that is also unearthed. But this is still on the path of conditioning, on the path of purifying, practicing devotional service. It's not as gross. It's not at the gross platform as it is like um, not following the four regulative principles. But then we should be very careful through our mind. There should not be illicit thoughts entertained. There should not be pride, intoxication, all this entertained, then there should not be like exploitation mentality, all this entertained. Okay, so any thoughts, questions, or comments? If none, then we can see next. Okay, let's see next. So,
How do you know when we are taking a decision, a yes or no, that we are not being trapped by our mind and we are actually, for example, our mind sometimes like dominates us and then we go away and then we can get upset with some problem or something. And even if we take like a day to think about it, how do we know that the yes or no that we say to the situation or the person is us and not our mind is still like taking us over.
Thanks, Mariana. Yeah. See, decision making, the clarity in Krishna consciousness becomes clear, and it will become clear as long as when we are very clear with what is our objective, what is our vision, what is our aim. Why am I practicing Krishna consciousness? Why do I practice Krishna consciousness? Because I love Krishna, to fall in love with Krishna. That's the thing. Because I love devotees. Because this will please Krishna, this will please devotees. So with this aim, vision, understanding, objective, then decision making becomes clear, should become clear. Oh, should I go to London or should I go to Spain? Well, if I go to London, will it harness my Krishna consciousness? Will it help me fall in love with Krishna quickly and intensely? Help me develop greed? Help me develop desperation for Krishna? Will it please devotees or will it not? So that ways we can check. And this is another thing is having a devotee friend is very helpful. It's tremendously like the nectar of instruction, the instructions what Srila Rupa Goswami gives. They sum up, cover up everything, especially the first eight. The first eight, and even in those first eight, the first four are very practical, tremendously. So anyone wanting to study management or any subject matter related to management, one should read Nectar of Instruction. The whole management philosophy and everything is very, in essence, very condensed, very concise, and complete way expressed in Nectar of Instruction. So Rupa Goswami says, right? Bhunjte bhogayete cheva. Uh, so he says, dadati prati griyati guhyam akhyati prichati. Bhunkte bhojayete cheva sadbir priti lakshanam. So to reveal one's mind in confidence with someone, to inquire and also submissively listen as well, take the feedback as well. But this is to be done not with everyone. We cannot afford to reveal our heart and mind to each and every devotee as well, for that matter. Yeah. Sajatiya, where there is Sajatiya sang, as in where there is very like-minded relationship, and where we see this devotee, yes, he is someone who is advanced. He is someone who is more focused, more disciplined, more fixed up. He is someone who is more clear. He is someone who is more matured, more wise. He is someone who is more free, someone who is more blessed, someone who is more empowered. So we try to make friendship, we try to serve, we try to reveal our heart and minds to that devotee in confidence. And it's a huge matter of trust. And the other person, the other devotee should really maintain that trust, that relationship, that sanctity, that integrity. And in that exchange, then it helps. Then if the devotee says, no, you shouldn't go to Spain, you should go to London. Clear? Yes. Okay, it's like Krishna speaking now via Krishna speaks via devotees, right? Krishna speaks via non-devotees as well, different ways, but predominantly he speaks via devotees. So once we reveal ourselves to our to devotees, then yeah, then whatever they say, we oblige, we should do it. This is what now asking is one good thing, submissively asking, but then we should be well prepared as well. We should prepare ourselves to take on the feedback and work on that as well. It's not like, oh no, you are telling me to go to London. No, actually, I don't like your advice. Maybe I will try another devotee. He also telling me to go to London. Maybe I'll try another. Or third one, fine, I will settle with you. You are the one telling me to go to Spain. Okay, I agree with you. Now I have taken devotee advice and I'm doing what devotee wants me to. Not like this, no. Not like we don't want to drive decisions. We don't want to influence decisions. No. Yeah. We want to take a association, and in association, whatever the devotee says, yes, we prepare ourselves. And then we should be very free that Krishna, I'm doing what your devotee wants me to do. So coming out of one's shell, coming out of one's, otherwise I, me and mine, it's all self-obsession only, right? Variations or expansions of self-obsession. Does that help you, Mariana? Does that answer? Okay. So let's see next. Thank you for your question and then put on more questions. Again, I may not have answers, but questions are always very helpful, very welcome. So let's see 27. Prasanta manasam hiyam enam yogina sukham uttamam upeti shanta rajasam brahmabhuta kalmasam. Okay. Anuja, would you be okay to read translation purport?
Yes, Ashish. Translation. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. Purport. Brahmabhuta is the state of being free from material contamination and situated in the transcendental service of the Lord. Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. Bhagavad Gita 18.54. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman, the Absolute, until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Sa vai manaha Krishna padar padravindayoho. To be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, or to remain in Krishna consciousness, is to be factually liberated from the mode of passion and all material contamination. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds.
Sure. So mind control is very, very important because if our mind is not controlled, if our mind is not peaceful, if our mind is not calm, we definitely cannot scale new heights. There's so much adventure in life, but how do we embark on the journey of adventure until and unless our mind is not controlled? See, uh, surrender means what? Giving ourselves fully to Krishna and letting Krishna use us the way he wants us to use. But if Krishna notices, well, he's still hanging on, clinging on to his mental platform, mental thoughts, mind and desires, temptations, all of this. How well can Krishna use us? No, cannot use us, right? Like Prabhupada, he went to the West, right? He wrote such a beautiful poem upon arriving Boston Harbor and then going further. Beautiful, beautiful poem. So he said, like, then, Krishna, I don't know whether I have to go left or right. Uh, and where have you brought me here? This is tremendous Maya in here. And so much advancement, but just material platform. And who will listen to me? So he prayed kindly, Krishna, make me, make my words understandable to them. And he didn't mean on accent side. He didn't mean on English side or language side. Prabhupada was very good in English though. But he didn't mean on that, okay, kindly help me understand their accent and help them understand my accent. No, so that Krishna, it is your words, and I'm trying to. We devotees are like courier boys, right? We are like postman courier boys. What does postman or a courier boy do? So from the post office, he knows, okay, he collects all the post and all, and then he goes out for delivery. And he has been trained, okay, this is house number 1, house number 4, house number 10. And he takes out from his envelope, oh, house number 10, that's house number 10. And he gives each correct post and letter to each of those houses. And this is what we are doing. We should be doing that. We should be carrying on, first understanding the message of Krishna, as it is, and then passing on the message of Krishna as it is. And once we start understanding, I mean, once we fall in love with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, when we start understanding the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, there's once we start understanding Krishna as he is in tattva, in reality, in truth, then no force, no power, no material force, no material power, no material attraction, glamour of this world will be able to sway us, will be able to take us away, provided we understand the tattva, the siddhant, the philosophical conclusion, mm, the perfect philosophical conclusion very clearly, very nicely, and we have taken sublime shelter of a devotee, of a elevated pure devotee. Then we wouldn't get swayed away. We have to come to this realization, as I said before. We preach reincarnation. We preach reincarnation. But as a practicing devotee, I should come to this understanding realization in my head that no more life. This is the only chance I have. No next life. I cannot rely. I cannot afford. So this is my only chance. This is my only life. And I should make the best out of it. Again, yesterday, this is again, I personally check myself. Um, Someday I will be in 50s. Someday I could be in 60s. I could be living that long, same. I could be in 50s. I could be in 60s. Where would I want to see myself when I am 60-year old? When I look back and assess life, would I just want to see, okay, how many years I worked, how much money I made, where all did I go for holiday, car, house, and all? What what all in terms of my desires, in terms of my peace of mind, in terms of my forgiveness, in terms of my attachment towards Krishna. Surely I will find now if I see some devotees who have been practicing for whatever duration, but I should be able to notice and see, wow, they're so advanced and so dedicated and so attached. They know Krishna as he is. And one can, through one speech, we must pray to Krishna that Krishna, there are devotees in this world who know you as you are. So through their Vani, kindly help my heart understand and help me surrender more and more unto you. So the mind has to be, mind is the junction between us living entity who is spiritual by nature. Yeah. In our Swarup, we are Satchidananda Vigraha. In our, but in our identity, but in our consciousness, in our practice, in our behavior, in our life, we are not living by it. This is the problem. Problem in society is I have not become pure, but I start claiming or I want people to take me as pure. I've not become a gentleman, but I want people to take me as a gentleman and all. And this is what I've not performed that austerity. I've not cleansed my heart enough. I've not developed love for Krishna enough, but I want society to check me like that. So I've not come in my swarup, but I want society to uh, treat me as if like I am in my swarup. So some action, some work has to be done for us to come to our identity. By nature, through our intrinsic or core nature, we are spiritual beings. But through our mind, we do not associate ourselves like that. Through our mind, we see everything in the within the three modes of material nature, within duality for our own sense gratification. And mind is the connecting link between us living entities, pure jiva, pure living entity. Mind is the connecting link, the bridge between material world and spiritual world. Now, purifying, controlling the mind, we can transform ourselves to spiritual realm, spiritual consciousness altogether. Actually, by living in this world itself, yes, living in this world itself, purifying our mind, we have to attain spiritual consciousness, absolute spiritual consciousness. So, Krishna consciousness is not like an external development of body or looks, externally health and all. It's a pure revolution, revival in one's consciousness, in one's love for Krishna. Any thoughts, questions, or comments? Any addition? Okay, let's see next then. This is the highest therapy actually. Going through the shloka translation and purports, the Sanskrit. These are words which Krishna himself has spoken. What else more could be glorious for us, and what else more could be really beneficial for us? Imagine Krishna, he appeared and he spoke this. For whom? Personally for me. We should take Bhagavad Gita personally. Na? The more we take the message of Krishna at a personal level, the more we can see ourselves as being merciful, being made merciful by Krishna. So it's not, again, I shouldn't think that, okay, I'm here to give a class or any such things. No, this is for personally for me to understand. Krishna appeared. Yes, he appeared personally for us, individually, each of us. And once we get that understanding, we can find our more motivation in practicing Krishna consciousness. Such a no higher therapy than this. Can anyone claim or say that he's more in a more precarious situation than Arjuna? We know we all are struggling with life, but none of us are in such a tight spot, in such a difficult position situation as Arjuna is. None of for before coming to this war in the exile, 13-year, 14-year exile, what Arjuna went through, Pandavas, and even before exile, none of us went through any of that. So we are not in that precarious situation as Arjuna is. And Arjuna listened Bhagavad Gita and he managed to come through very clean, victorious. So our problem is still small. And if we listen to the message of Bhagavad Gita, we will also come through very clean, victorious. So this is the highest, the best therapy. And it will work at all platforms. Krishna will give us the intelligence, now how to then look after our body, how to look after our thoughts and everything. Eventually to bring us closer to him. Real closer. युञ्जन एवं सदात्मानं योगी विगत कल्मष सुखेन ब्रह्म स्वं पशम अत्यंतम सुखमश्नुते. Okay, Harsha ji, read translation and purport.
Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. Purport. Self-realization means knowing one's constitutional position in relationship to the Supreme. Self-realization means knowing one's constitutional position in relationship to the Supreme. The individual soul is part and parcel of the Supreme, and his position is to render transcendental service to the Lord. This transcendental contact with the Supreme is called Brahma Samparsa. Could you scroll down a bit? Okay. Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord.
Yeah. So similar lines, mind is the junction. Mind has to be the first thing Mahaprabhu sir says in Sishtashkam, right? Cheto Darpana Marjanam. No? To cleanse the dust from the mirror of the mind. As they say, the outer world is nothing but a reflection of the inner world we are having. Yeah? Whatever we see, I say this thing, no? That Karuna Bhavan, ISKCON Scotland Temple, many visitors, many practitioners as well, devotees, and everyone, hundreds and thousands have come to take darshan of the presiding deity, Shishi Koranitai Mayapur Sashi. So many souls, many living entities, many devotees, practitioners, visitors, and all, they enter the temple room to take darshan. But not everyone absorbs, not everyone receives, or not everyone takes the darshan in that same consciousness level. Likewise, in society, also we participate in society at our different consciousness levels we all are carrying, and we participate like based on whatever our consciousness level is. So the outer world is nothing but a reflection of the inner world we are having. And this is why once we purify ourselves internally, then the external world will look clean and green to us. For a pure devotee, he sees no problem anywhere. Uh, He sees no problem anywhere. He understands the heart of Krishna. He is completely in touch with Krishna. He knows the energies of Krishna, how they work, and he is also understand that I am also an energy of Krishna and serving Krishna. uh, in the mission, in the message, in the mood of Krishna, what Krishna desires. So uh, we just we associate again with this world through our mind only, right? Through our mind. And it is this mind only, once purified, will open the doors of the spiritual world for us. So Mahaprabhu in his Sishtashkam, the first thing he says is what? Cherito darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam shreya kerava chandrika vitarnam vidyavadu jivanam. Hmm? So Cheto darpana marjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. This bhav sagar, na, repeated birth and death. Mahadavagni, great fire, forest fire. Now, who goes in forest and puts fire? No one. No, just by nature, but just by friction of woods and trees and the woods and all, fire somehow or other, fire gets activated. Fire appears, fire happens, comes out, breaks out in forest. Now, can forest fire be extinguished just like that through fire brigades and all? No, they cannot. They just can, maybe at the most they can somewhat reduce somewhat speed of it, the spread of it and all. But unless there is rain from the clouds, the ashes would still be burning and all, unless there is rain from the cloud. So on our own, we can do very little. The message is through my own strength, through my own efforts, I can do very little. So Bhagavad Gita doesn't, Krishna does not promote, say that, okay, on your own you can do. The self will be complete when we realize Krishna, when we understand Krishna. This Prabhupada says, right? Self-realization follows God realization. But we don't want to follow God, and we still want to be self-improving and all everything. It wouldn't work that way. We have to understand the message of God. We have to take the message of God, and we have to live by the message and the principles, the practice. then we can see ourselves very nicely growing. So on our own, very little can we do. But this is when we rely on someone who is more wise than us, who is more advanced. We rely on Mahamantra. The holy name is not different from Krishna altogether. We rely on taking darshan of deities. We rely on prasadam. We rely on Krishna. We should. This is this is real freedom to understand that Krishna is in supreme control. This is real freedom. But in society, we want to exercise real freedom by putting ourselves in your control or thinking the more control I get, the more power I get, the more autonomy I get, autonomous I become, the more free I would be. That is Maya, which cheats us, which makes us believe, okay, there's happiness. You gain more control, you will be more happy, more free. No, that is binding us. But when we give our mind to Krishna, we can see, yeah, we are getting free. So the dust in the mirror of the mind has to be cleansed. Imagine two magnets, a big magnet and a small magnet. Now, magnets naturally attract, they have the power, the force to attract to. Hmm? So, a big magnet, but is not able to attract the small magnet. Say, what could be the reason? There are two magnets, one big, one small, and the big magnet is not able to attract the small magnet. What could be the reason? Another thing, say, we are in front of a mirror, but we are not able to see ourselves. What could be the reason? In front of the mirror, I should be able to see myself, right? Mariana says there is a cover. And what could be the reason a big magnet is not able to attract or pull a small magnet? The big magnet naturally will attract a small magnet, but if the small magnet has become rusty, if the small magnet has got rust all over it and all, then the big magnet won't be able to. If the small magnet has almost lost all of its magnetic properties, then the big magnet won't be able to. Similarly, in mirror, if we go in front of mirror, but if the room is pitch black, pitch dark, if it's very dark, I may be standing in front of the mirror, but I won't be able to see myself. It's so dark. Huh? Living in ignorance, how can I do a self-realization? How can I do a self-analysis? How can I check that am I right or wrong? No, we cannot. We cannot. We are so conditioned. We are living in ignorance. We are not free. We are full of defect. A doctor who himself is in some disease, he cannot cure other patients. No, he himself needs first cure. This is why we need to surrender to Krishna. We need to surrender to devotee. Again, not every devotee we cannot afford to reveal our hearts, but someone from whom we can understand, yes, there is a heart to heart connection. Then the devotee can switch on the light and say, oh, actually, the reason we are not able to see the mirror is lights are turned off. Turn on the light. This is how you turn on the light. Or the reason you are not able to see the mirror is there's so much of dust in the mirror. Hmm? So clean the mirror, then you would be able to see. Or the mirror is still covered, wrapped in cardboard. So you need to unpack the mirror first. Hmm? The reason the big magnet is not able to pull the small magnet, it's very rusty. It's very dirty. Take away all the cobwebs, all the dirt and all, then yes. Likewise, Krishna, all attractive. And he's attracting us, but we want to be attracted by Maya. We want to be attracted by Maya. So attachment, this is something to be noted. All this is to be noted and put into practice and experience. See. And beautiful Prabhupada writes in the purport of this chapter itself, the 8th verse, the first sentence in the purport. What does he say? That book knowledge without experience, without realization of the supreme truth, absolute reality, is is a mere waste of time, is useless, is hard struggle for existence. Just bookish knowledge will not help. This is why we need to elevate ourselves. Okay, I never got this opportunity to ask Mariana this question. I'm not expecting a reply answer, but if she wants to give an immediate reply answer, yeah, sure. But just check on this question. I like asking myself this question, and I should ask myself this question daily over and over again. What is the difference between information, knowledge, and wisdom? What is the difference between information, knowledge, and wisdom? And where do I currently stand? How much am I in information category? How much in knowledge? How much in wisdom? Practicing Krishna consciousness, how much have I managed to assimilate Krishna consciousness? Is it just on the information level for me, or knowledge, or wisdom? One day, if I become 70-year-old, will I be should I be carrying just information in my head, some knowledge in my head, or wisdom, realized knowledge, transcendental knowledge? Hmm. So this is why when we open up ourselves to devotees, then we can understand that the mirror needs cleaning. The small magnet is full of dust. This is why Krishna is not able to attract. And we are we living entities find our attraction in distraction, isn't it? What is distracting for us, we find our attraction there. And uh, practicing Krishna consciousness to begin with, we would be pulled by the material energy and spiritual energy as well. But through steady practice, through steady devotee association, actually, because we do not have that vision, but some devotee has that vision. And when we give our ears to that devotee, as in hear from that devotee, so that devotional vision, that devotional love service from his heart will be transmitted to my heart, and then can share that same vision. I can have that same vision. I can have that same mood, sentiment, love, understanding. So, Krishna consciousness is a revelation of the heart. It's a transmission of the knowledge in the heart. Unlike academic knowledge, is a complete different style of working. And attachment can never be, we can never be attached on two opposing objects, two opposing subjects, two opposing elements. I can never be attached, or I'm so attached to watching web series on Netflix, and I cannot say that I'm so attached to listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. No, the two do not go, cannot be attached. To begin with, it's fine. To begin with, we are attached in Maya only. But when we take good devotee association, we can transform ourselves from Maya to Mahamaya to Yog Maya. This is the practice of, and life is full of choices and options. Krishna is giving us this choice, this option. We should make full use of it from this moment itself. We may fall in the path, sure, we may fall in the journey, but through good association, we will be able to rise up quickly. And through our fall, we may not get spread out, we may not create another hole for us. We will be able to rise up quickly and move further. We can make it, and the practice of Krishna consciousness is to be made an onwards and upwards journey. We cannot afford to just look into the past, hold on to the past, uh, feel sorry for the past, and worry about the future. No. If we have a clear vision of Krishna consciousness, who is Krishna? Who am I? What is my relationship? So Krishna is a very personal person. Bhagavad Gita is a very personal message. Then we can make it an onwards and upwards journey altogether. Any question, comments, or thoughts? Or any clarification? Okay, if none, then you're a very kind, gentle audience as always. You keep my job pretty easy. No, you don't hassle me. You don't like hassling me. Huh? Okay, let's see. सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शन. Okay, so Mariana, read translation and purport.
A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. Purport. A Krishna-conscious yogi is the perfect seer because he sees Krishna, the Supreme, situated in everyone's heart as Super Soul, Paramatma. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hirde Deshe Arjuna Tistarchi. The Lord in his Paramatma feature is situated within both the heart of the dog and that of a Brahman. The perfect yogi knows that the Lord is eternally transcendental and is not materially affected by his presence in either a dog or a Brahmana. That is the supreme neutrality of the Lord. The individual soul is also situated in the individual heart, but he is not present in all hearts. That is the distinction between the individual soul and the super soul. One who is not factually in the practice of yoga cannot see so clearly. A Krishna conscious person can see Krishna in the heart of both the believer and the non-believer. In the Smriti, this is confirmed as follows. Atat
Atat Atatvat cha matritvat cha atma hi paramohari.
Okay. The Lord, being the source of all beings, is like the mother and the maintainer. As the mother is neutral to all different kinds of children, the Supreme Father or Mother is also. Consequently, the Super Soul is always in every living being. Outwardly, also, every living being is situated in the energy of the Lord. As will be explained in the 7th chapter, the Lord has primarily two energies, the spiritual or superior and the material or inferior. The living entity, although part of the superior energy, is conditioned by the inferior energy. The living entity is always in the Lord's energy. Every living entity is situated in him in one way or another. The yogi sees equally because he sees that all living entities, although in different situations according to the results of fruitive work in all circumstances, remain the servants of God, while in the material energy, the living entity serves the material senses, and while in the spiritual energy, he serves the Supreme Lord directly. In either case, the living entity is the servant of God. This vision of equality is perfect in a person in Krishna consciousness. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere.
Hmm. See, all this is so therapeutic. Just reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita, na, the Sanskrit shloka, the translation purport, and again because of lack of time, we are not doing in this study the word meanings as well. But in our personal study, we should study the word meanings as well. And when we start slowly, steadily, we will be building up a stamina for good reading and for good listening. Uh, Nothing happens overnight. Nothing happens overnight. But through constant, regular endeavor and efforts with sincerity. And once we start, Krishna consciousness we can go on a fast track. Once we actually see some devotee as an advanced devotee. Once we see some devotee as an advanced, inspiring devotee, and we want to emulate him or we want to take his shelter, we want to follow him. We want to follow him. And when we desire to please him, not to overcome, not to take over his position or um, beat him, say, no, no. It's not like, okay, now I'm seeing in advance, and if I follow his footsteps and do the same tips and tricks, what he does say, and in 10 years' time, I will beat him. I will come over him. I will be better, much better speaker than him in 5 years. Just give me 5 years. I'll be much better speaker than him. And in 5 years, I will be a much better kirtaniya than him. I'll be much better event manager than him. I will be a much better, uh, say, prasadam cook than him and all. So I will overtake. No, we cannot. Such thoughts might come. Definitely. Why not? No, we are bhakti is completely spiritual. Bhakti is completely transcendental. The process is transcendental. We also in our identity are transcendental, but in our current state of mind, in our current consciousness, we are not. So such lower thoughts can well enter our mind, but we shouldn't entertain. We should not ever think like this. And if it has not entered, then we should not even see, okay, such a possibility is there or such a thing. No. So we should at least make this effort to find one person, someone whom we can trust, whom we can put our heart in, and who we can see, yes, he is genuinely advanced because he has no ulterior motive, he has no other agenda, hidden agenda. He is genuinely after Radha and Krishna. He is genuinely after pleasing the parampara. And then when we see him advanced, and we should see him advanced for the rest of our life, yes. Way more, way more, way more. So with that, once we find that, then again the devotional service in pure devotee's heart, they will transpire into our heart as well. Bhakti sanjayate bhakti. In 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 society we hear what they say, money begets money, right? पैसे से पैसा बनता है. Money begets money. So bhakti also comes, actually gets activated through the bhakti of other devotees, senior devotees. Uh, So seeing the bhakti in them, the love in them, it transpires, it will come in our heart. And the whole is how can we search out? We have to make efforts for this, real efforts, and pray fervently to the Lordship that help me understand your representative. Who is your representative? Yeah. In societal lifestyle and all, we check, okay, if I have to get a visa for getting an admission in a university, say in America, and this is a consultancy. So I check, okay, are you the consultants? What your and will you give me the visa and trust? Try to put our trust. We try to check, and once we are happy and all, then uh, we go for the visa thing. Is it not? Uh, Likewise, uh, medical. Who is the medical representative? And once we put our trust and faith and all, then we, yes, listen to what the medical representative has to say. Likewise, we should try to develop some trust with some devotees. Then see, yes, he is the representative of Krishna. And then in that sense, our bhakti will come to a very fast track. It's all because of ignorance. Whatever worries we are having is all because of ignorance. It's all unwanted. It's nothing is worth for. It is all material. So if material, what it is worth for? Matter means divide only, split only, that will be which will be taken away. So why to worry about it? And spirit means which is united, which is integral, which will expand, which will bring more, add more. So we should work on spirit. And we are tatastha shakti, na? We are sheltered. We need shelter. Either we can be in the spirit under the sky shelter of spiritual energy or material energy, but we need shelter. We definitely need shelter. We do not live in isolation. None of us. Doesn't matter one is a practicing devotee or one is not practicing, whosoever. Yeah? None of us live in isolation. Now, thing is, whose care and shelter are we? Again, Maya Devi or Yoga Maya? That is the thing. But we all need shelter. Now, in this life also, we have taken so much shelter of Maya Devi. This is a chance we allow ourselves to be used by Krishna. There's nothing to lose, and there could be lots to gain. Way more lots to gain. So, Krishna consciousness is developing this vision, this mood, this understanding, as it says in translation, that he sees every being in me and me in all beings. So, we have to come to this stage, Krishna mein, na? As they say, Siya Ram mein sab jag jani, Krishna mein. Then we will not have hatred towards anyone. We will not have animosity towards anyone. We won't look down upon someone. We won't also think, okay, he's much better. And for ourselves as well, we will not consider ourselves to be low. We won't be having a low self esteem. How can we have a low self esteem? We are Krishnas. We are, I mean, this is our highest worth, our highest glory that I'm a part of Krishna's existence. Wow. I'm a part of Krishna's relevance. What can be much bigger than this? So it is developing this vision that everything belongs to Krishna, everything comes from Krishna, everyone is Krishna's. Two things we need, right? That our vision, this this um, this defect, this blame, the taint in our vision has to be removed. Like in eye, there is some cataract or some disease, okay, which has to be cleared. Then one can see. So we are carrying this dirt in our eyes and all, which is obscuring us from having the darshan of Krishna. And in our intelligence, there's so much of filthy polluteness. So through the practice of Krishna consciousness, the vision and the intelligence has to be very improved and purified. Then we won't see that anyone is trying to exploit me. No. Everyone, whatever is happening in my life is Krishna's plan in a way to bring me closer to him. Whatever is currently happening. Just I should not let my ego or my conditioned mind come in between Krishna's plan. That is the only thing. That much of just sanity we need to maintain. That much of faith and patience we need to have. And how will we get this conviction? Through good association. By giving time in good association. We can experience this. There's no one blocking or stopping us. Only our conditioned mind, only my conditioned mind. Everyone is here to help me. Everyone is helping me to advance in Krishna consciousness. Doesn't matter how bossy my boss is, or how bossy my wife is, how bossy my children are and all. Everyone is there to help me become Krishna conscious. And once we try to develop such a vision, such a mood, such a mentality, such an attitude, not in theory, in practice, then we can see the magic of Krishna. At least on desired level, when we try to develop such a desire. And again, this won't come about in our wildest dreams just like that. No, it is through good association that the devotional service, the love, attachment for Krishna, and through good association will rub onto us. And we have to see everything as Krishna's, everyone and everything as Krishna's, including ourselves. As they say, charity begins from home, right? So first of all, I need to consider myself that I am Krishna's. Then I can never exploit someone. I can never see towards any woman with any exploitative mentality. Why? She also is a part of Krishna's existence. She is for Krishna. She is also meant to serve Krishna. I am also Prakriti, meant to serve Krishna. That's our real constitutional position. And as they say, real joy is in serving. So we have heard all these slogans, these expressions and all. Now is the time to actually put it into practice, to experience it. So we have so much of information. There's no lacking of information in this world. Now we need to upscale, elevate, transcend, go from information to knowledge level, and from knowledge to realized knowledge, transcendental knowledge, wisdom level altogether. Then we practice Krishna consciousness in the fourth dimension, free from the competition of this world. And that's real peace. And all these are not just proposals or concepts, no. These are all to be experienced in this human form of life, in this life itself. If not now, then when? Any questions or comments or any thoughts? Okay, I think we leave it here for today. Thank you very much for your patience and encouragement, and we meet up tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.